Hello, my name is Susan Rushton and this is Olio. And before I need to go any further, I need to explain what Olio means. Olio is short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl, which I always just get such a kick out of, or rotten pot, whatever. It's a Spanish-Portuguese dish with essentially everything in the world in it. Pork in all its iterations, bacon, pig ears, sausage, as well as chicken, chickpeas, cabbage, carrots, beans, and of course onions and garlic. As I said, everything in the world in it except pineapples and prunes. That's one definition. Another definition is that Olio is what comes in between acts of a melodrama. You might have somebody singing, you might have somebody juggling, you might have somebody telling jokes, and nothing has anything to do with anything else, and it certainly has nothing to do with the melodrama. So welcome to my apples, oranges, and a monkey wrench. Thanks very much. Okay, today my guest is Karrie Rutherford. Karrie, I'm really so happy to have you with me. Karrie is the owner of Rutherford Reserve at 853 Lincoln Way, Suite 110 in Auburn. And it's on the right side of what building?
It's the Auburn Promenade, right at the corner of Hillmont and Lincoln Way.
Yeah, okay. It's that little bit right on the right of that big building. Her phone number is 916-833-8040. Her website, thank you. Her website is rutherfordreserve.com. And her email is Karrie@rutherfordreserve.com. And I think if you don't know who she is, and you haven't been in there, you will, I know I want you to go in there. And this is, of course, I usually don't do this, but she has an organization, a place that is vital. What am I talking about?
So our business is a refillery. So the idea is...
It's a what?
Refillery. So like you're refilling a bottle, refillery. It is a way for you to cut down on your plastic waste, to bring...
You hear that?
Yeah.
Say it again.
So you're breaking down the now my brain has went sideways. Sorry about that. You are taking your containers and you're refilling them. So you're taking that container you already have, that bottle, that jar, that's beautiful container that you got something packaged in that you don't want to toss away. You bring that in and you fill it up. And you can fill it up with all the things that you need in your life, all the necessities.
For example?
So your hair care, your laundry detergent, your dish soap, your lotions, your hand soap. I mean, really, I do have everything that you could ever want to refill.
Yeah, and I find that wonderful.
Yeah.
How did you get started doing that?
Well, in terms of the products, they're all handmade by me, and I've been doing that.
Say that again.
So
they're
all handmade by me. So all those refills, all the things I just mentioned, plus a whole lot more, are handmade by me from scratch. If it were cooking, we'd call it from scratch.
Yes.
That for me started about 21 years ago with a book in the library on how to soap make, and I learned how to, figure out how to make a formula, how to get the right ingredients to make bars of soap. And as I was learning that, the journey took me to lotions, to lip balms, to scrubs, and continues.
On and on.
On and on.
Yeah. The Rutherford Reserve is open almost every day?
Yeah, we're just closed on Monday and Wednesday. I'm a one-woman show, so I don't have employees. So
I thought you did.
Nope. Yeah, it's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, back when we first opened up, my mother and my sister would come on a couple of days, and my daughter would come. But my mother got married, which was awesome, and so she's got a new path on her life. And then my daughter had my baby granddaughter, and so she's got.
They're all busy.
They've all got their path is laid out for them. am, and so it's just me. So I am closed on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I call those my refill days.
Yeah.
Because the products have to be refilled. I have to make more gallons of laundry detergent, shampoo, and lotion, whatever happens to have run low. So those are my make days.
Okay.
And then I'm there Tuesday, Thursday, and then those kind of run together, I guess. So Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that covers the whole weekend time.
Okay. What got you started? Why?
Oh, I'm a make girl. I love to figure out how to make things. I mean, I've made cheese, I've made bread, I've done pasta. So when I found this book and I was like, I can make soap, because at that time the internet was in its infancy. There really wasn't like the whole YouTube and Pinterest and Google, and so finding a book at the library on how to make soap was like, oh, this is awesome. I can do this without heavy machinery or the big cauldron in the front yard like the pioneers. You know, you see the pioneers out there stirring up that cauldron. So I was like, oh yes, I want to learn how to do this. It's great. I didn't make soap right away though, because I had 3 infant children at that time. So I spent a lot of time just researching.
So you were busy too.
I was busy too, yes. Yeah. But as I learned the way to make it, all of the ins and outs of it, my mom watched the kids for me once because I had all my supplies, and I made soap, and it turned out, and it bubbled, and it cleansed, and it was all the things that soap was supposed to be, and that was my path from there on. That was my, like, I want to learn something else. Oh, now I'm going to learn how to make lotion. I'm going to learn how to make scrubs and lip balm. And then after I learned those basics, I was like, well, let's make facial care. That's, a specific ingredients for the face. And then it was, oh, let's make hair care, because that's completely different from just your regular lotions and soaps. And then I did home cleaning supplies, and at first it was like what most DIYers would do. I'd make an atmosphere all-purpose spray, clean the surface, or a toilet cleaner. But then I started to go, oh, well, what do I need to make a laundry detergent? What do I need to make a, more specific things, the things that you need to clean your house. Yeah. And like I said, it's been 21 years now. I make like everything, really.
Yes. Okay. And so how long have you had the store? So
the store, we are 4 years, 3 months. In December, it'll be 4.5 years.
4.5 years. It feels like it's been longer.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's funny. I have some people who think that it's been years, like more years that I've been there. And other people will come in and they're like, oh, are you new? Is this a new store?
Well, relatively.
So, I'm like, relatively. I mean, I always tell people that whole 2020 to 2022 is lost years. Yeah. So my first couple of years in business, people weren't really like out and about. They when they knew what they needed, they'd go straight there and get it. They'd go right back home. So it took a bit for people to kind of get the idea that we were there, and the idea of what the store is, to save your containers, bring them in, get them filled up. But I have lots of regulars now who love it. They can get exactly what they want when they want it. Also, most of my refills are unscented. So for the people with a fragrance allergy, or maybe they don't have a fragrance allergy, but they just hate it when something's overly perfumed. Coming and getting an unscented product and choosing what it'll smell like, choosing the level of what it'll smell like, I think has made a big difference in a lot of my customers' lives.
Okay. And I believe I remember when I first talked to you that you were doing it at Farmers Market or something?
Yeah, I did the local Auburn Farmers Market for 13 years before I opened my store.
13 years.
Yeah. Of course, I didn't have all the refills because, that would require like a box truck to bring all of the things there. But I did have customers who would give me their bottles and say, hey, next time I see you, can you just fill this with that foot cream I really like? Can you fill that with that facial moisturizer I really like? All of those things that they knew I make, so why not? Yeah. And so it was fine because they were like, I've got plenty of time. I'm not in a rush. Just, I'm going to give you this bottle, this jar, and have you refill it. So I knew it was something people wanted. I had several regular customers who did it on the regular. As soon as their bottle ran out, they usually had 2 bottles. So the one bottle would go empty. They'd hand it to me to refill, and they'd be using the other in the time that it took for me to get it done and back to them. But yeah, it is something I've been, with regular customers for years, and have kind of had my ear to the ground of what people want and what they need, and tried to fill that need.
Okay. And what were you doing before?
Well, I mean, I had my 3 children to raise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I pretty much, I mean, other than doing craft fairs and farmers market with my business, I worked, small part-time jobs. But my 3 children were homeschooled, and I was take care of the family.
Busy.
Yeah, so take care of the family kind of person.
Yeah. Okay.
So
now, it seems as if you're doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for other people as well. This is a really kind and smart thing to do.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Mainly, I love to be able to see that somebody has a need and to be able to say that I've got something that'll fill that need. To be able to point them to something or give them information. I mean, I've got years. I call my brain the Jeopardy brain. There's so much information in this brain. So sometimes it may not even be a product that I make. It's just somebody will say, I'm trying to deal with this thing or that thing, and I can give them some pointers or tips just from life experience, things that I've learned. And I like that. I like to be able to try to better people's lives with whatever I've got, whether it's a made thing or just knowledge that's stored away in the brain.
Yeah. So your philosophy is refill, reuse, rethink. I know what you mean by refill. I know you what you mean by reuse. But what do you mean by rethink?
Well, my brain thinks, why do we waste so much stuff? Why do we easily grab the disposable things? Why do we, when there's choices, there's options out there, and we grab something that's disposable. Think of it as like the saran wrap and the foil that we don't think about, or the paper towels that we don't think about, that we're using, that we could have used something that was washable, something that was compostable even. I mean, even if it was something that did need to be disposed, but it was something better for the environment, made out of a more renewable resource. So rethink is like, before you make that knee-jerk decision to grab something, think, oh, wait, maybe I could use something better, something that's more sustainable. So,
do you ever have people who roll their eyes at you?
I've had a handful. I think that we're kind of like, who has time for this? Our life is way too busy. You're not going to make an impact on our world by making these changes. I think sometimes people don't see the small footsteps as making a bigger impact. They think that we need to have like radical changes, and if it's not radical, why even bother?
But it is radical.
Right. Well, I think it is,
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, think about one bottle in your life that you refill and don't throw away. Think your shampoo. How many bottles of shampoo do you go through in a year? Like 6 maybe on low side.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, so there's 6 plastic bottles that didn't get thrown into the trash.
Yes, and think then, how many people who do that.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
I mean, it becomes this huge number of bottles. And then you go, okay, well, if you're doing shampoo, you might as well do conditioner. So now you're looking at a dozen bottles that you saved. And they do say that only about 9% of what you recycle gets recycled. But then there's others who say that it's not even that number. It's like 4%. Yeah. So if you're going through the motions of trying to be good for the the environment, and you're
plastic.
Yeah, the plastic stuff, and you're trying to wash it out, you're trying to throw it into the recycle bin and get it done, but then you find out that it's not actually getting recycled after you put all that effort into it. Yeah. Your best bet is to try to limit those number of things that get thrown away, by washing them out, by refilling them. I have a donation bin at the shop.
I was going to
ask about that.
Yeah.
So I have customers who drop off the bottles that they're not going to use.
Included.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
And that way when someone pops in and they go, oh, I didn't know you were here, I didn't come with a container, I go, well, that's fine, let's go through the bin,
do this.
Find you a container and fill her up, and you're buying it by the ounce, so it's very budget friendly. So, I mean, if you're not spending your money on an extra bottle, and you're not spending your money on, some corporate marketing scheme, you really are putting your money into the community, and you are choosing what's most budget friendly for yourself.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
So I try to give you lots of options.
Yes. I am so charmed by what you do.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I'm sorry you're not open all the time. I'm sorry. You work all the time, don't you?
Well, I mean, I always tell people, at least I'm not like a baker who has to wake up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning to make the day's fresh bread and the day's fresh pastries. I really only have to make the things as they run low. So it isn't an overwhelming task to keep everything done. It just kind of keeps you busy. I mean, I would say that it keeps you busy as much as like your favorite hobby keeps you busy, you know, because it is something that I enjoy doing. So it's not really where I feel the drudgery of like, oh, I got to make more stuff. I got to get up and do it. Yeah. It is still a creative process, and it's not usually a lot because, you know, I make it myself, so I'm not waiting for, you know, a shipment to come in and I'm trying to, you know, time everything. It's really just go home and make more when it runs out.
Where do you get this stuff?
Most everything has to be ordered in. Unfortunately, I don't know why it is. California is such a huge state, but we really don't have very much in the way of supplies. I can get some things like the olive oil locally. I can get coconut oil locally, but the main ingredients that make shampoo, that make conditioner, those things that are more specialized, they're not really a food ingredient. They do have to be shipped in. But that's kind of the world we live in nowadays, you know.
Okay. The coconut oil. What do you use the coconut oil for?
A lot of times that goes into my soap. I don't use it in too many of other products. It's mostly in soap making. When you make soap, your oils create different effects in the soap. So coconut oil gives you really good lather. It gives you a nice hard bar of soap. So when you pair that with like hemp seed oil, which is very moisturizing, but is not prone to a hard bar of soap or a lot of lather, you get that balance. You get that really great bubbly cleansing soap that you love, but you get the moisturizing skin feel of the more luxury ingredients.
And how, you've 21 years?
Well, 21 years of selling. When I learned soap making, it was probably around 25. Okay. Because you need to have your craft down pat before you go do your first craft fair. You don't just like, oh, I know how to make soap, let's go have a craft fair. It was a while before I started selling, but yeah, I mark it as 2003 as being the year that I started doing craft fairs, and so have counted forward from there.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I just can't imagine doing this. For one thing, I'm doing all these other things.
Right, you have a lot of eggs in your basket. Yeah.
Yeah. But was it only one book that you...
It was one book that started it. It was just me at the library looking down the racks and found this book and was like, oh, really? Soap making? You could do this? And
you weren't looking for it?
I wasn't looking for it. It was just, like I said, I had the small children, so we would go for like story time. We'd spend some time at the library hanging out, and I was an avid reader. I'm a little less now because I'm kind of busy.
Really?
I'm a little on the busy side, and I find that I can't do the audiobooks very well. My brain goes elsewhere. But back then, I was very much a book reader, and my children were there, and I'm just kind of going up and down the aisle. I feel like it was really close to the cookbooks, and that's why I was looking at cookbooks, and there was, the craft section right next door, and that's when I saw it. At that time, Yahoo had Yahoo groups, and there were forums, because, like I said, it was not a Pinterest to go to or a YouTube to go to, so I did join quite a lot of those groups, and there would be old timers who knew how to make soap from their grandparents, and new people like me who were learning something as a new skill. And that's where I started to learn a lot more of like where to get your supplies, how to formulate a correct recipe, and then of course somebody would pop in and say, oh, I'm learning to make lotion. Oh, that's cool. What are the ingredients? How do you do that? Another person would pop in, I just made a batch of lip balm. I want to make lip balm. How do you do that? And that really started like the ball rolling of like, oh, well, what these other people are making sounds cool. Let's do that too.
So it's not just cleaning.
Oh yeah, it's moisturizing. It's taking care of people's intense dry skin. It's like I said, I want to kind of heal people without using the word heal because that would put me in a different category from being cosmetics. Yeah, okay. But I want to be like, this is very moisturizing.
You want to make them feel good.
Want them to feel good. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And if I can make them have a happier, day, week, life, I'm ecstatic about that.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. And I wish you had a bigger place.
Well, the thing is that I'd always done a 10 by 10 farmer's market booth. So that place was plenty big when I first looked at it. I was like, I could never fill a store, a proper store.
Have you been there? Have you been there? I hope you've been there. It's packed. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, it's technically an office that I've made into a store. So it was meant to be computers and secretaries and whatever an office usually has. But I saw it as a nice size store because it's really, really long. It's just narrow and long. And when we first moved in, there was a couple of shelves. I think there was a table in the middle. And now there's shelves all along the side. And there's tables down the middle. I have used every inch of that place. But it is still very accessible. People can come with their wheelchairs, with strollers. Nobody has ever had a problem making the whole loop. Like I said, it's very disabled friendly, you know.
Okay.
So
if it's disabled friendly, it's everybody
friendly. Yes, exactly. You know, you don't have to worry about like, oh, I don't think that we're going to make it in there, you know. It's like, no, you can come in, you can feel comfortable. Also, when we were doing the whole gradual opening after the lockdown and everything, it gave people plenty of room because of the tables down the middle to be able to have people walk down one side, the tables are in the middle, walk down the other side. Nobody felt like they were crowded or jostling each other. So not that we're ever that busy, but still.
I wish you were. I wish you were. You have said that there's are you connected with other people elsewhere? Other
like other refilleries?
Yeah.
Well, there is a Refillery collective website a lady put together, and it is a collection of all the refilleries across the whole United States. And so when I get people from out of town, because we're Auburn, we get people come in for the marathons, we've got people coming in on vacation. So they'll say, oh, I really wish there was a refillery in my town, but I live in a small town, or I live, you know, just in this other state kind of thing. So I'll be like, oh, well, let's go to this lady's website. And we look and put in their zip code. She has it real fancy now. At the beginning, it was more of a scroll through, and now it is a proper put in your city, state, or put in your zip code. And so I have lots of people, I'll be like, oh, there's a refillery in your town, or I'll go, well, what's this town? And they'll go, oh, that's only like 15 minutes away. So I have been able to connect people from out of town to refilleries that are
So you are not alone.
I am not alone. No, I just may be the only crazy person who makes all our products. So the other refilleries are going to have more of a brand name on the shelf. They're going to have like Dr. Bronner's liquid soap, or they're going to have some kind of a brand name laundry detergent. You know, there's a lot of larger corporations, not really corporations, I guess larger companies that are supplying refilleries. In the refillery world, we will know those names, and your everyday person coming in may not. But most people know Dr. Bronner. So when I say Dr. Bronner, they go, okay, I know Dr. Bronner. But so I always tell people, you'll still be able to bring your containers in. They're still going to pay, you know, sell it by the weight. It's just that it's going to be made by a bigger company. Because I mean, really, how many people have been doing this for 21 years and make everything? I mean, it just, I mean, I'm friends on Instagram and Facebook with a lady who has a full store like I used to do, where it was just soaps and lotions and scrubs and things, not a refillery. She opened a refillery, and I thought for certain she'd be crazy like me, because I just think everyone is. So when she was like getting it all together, and she was buying her laundry detergent and buying the hand soap and such to refill the refillery, I was like, oh, you're not making it yourself? She goes, that's way too much work. I was like, see, I'm one. But,
you're right.
You're right, it is. But I this is me. This is who I am. So like I said, I like at least to be able to connect people to another place that they can refill when they go home. Also, I mean, it's great for those who are traveling. I mean, I have people who pop in because they can get like 2 ounces of something they like, take it on the flight, not have to worry about TSA, and still have a little memento of coming to Auburn. So there's that too. So,
Can you remember the website of this?
It's the Refillery Collective.
Refillery Collective.
Yeah, no I said but it's actually Refillery Collective.
Refillery Collective.
.com. Yeah.
Okay. So check that out. I'm going to do that myself. Refillerycollective.com.
Yeah, because I mean, we get so many people from everywhere. They should all know that that's a resource that they could pull from.
Yeah.
I mean, I even had somebody just the other day who's from Davis, and I was like, "Don't you have one in Davis?" I could have swore. So I went to her website and looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, Davis doesn't have one. They would have to come into downtown Sacramento to find a Refillery." So I told them to come see me.
Yeah,
So
of course.
if you're already going to drive to downtown, what's a little further? Come to Auburn and see me.
Yeah. Okay. So I am thrilled that there are so many. That there are enough to put to
put a whole website.
Yeah. Refillery
Collective. Yeah.
.com. Do you think you're unique? You're not unique.
I don't think, I mean, I would say that my idea is definitely not unique. It's because there are other refilleries and there's definitely other cosmetic makers. I always refer to us as soap makers, but we make so much more than soap. So I'm like, we need a better name than soap maker.
Yeah.
But I think that it is unique in the idea of what we're doing, because you're not going to have a big corporation do it. They're going to see it as too wasteful. You're going to have an employee manning the refills all the time, and supplying the refills is going to seem too time consuming. So it is very unique that it's going to be small businesses. It's going to, in most cases, be women owned. I mean, I think most of the refilleries I follow across Instagram are all women owned. I think there's a few that are like a husband and wife kind of a thing going on, but it is a woman owned kind of business.
So these women are brilliant.
They want
they
to
care,
make a better life for their children, for their grandchildren, for the future.
See?
Yeah. So I mean, women always have been ear to the ground. How can we make society better? That's who we are. We're the mothers of the world, you know. So it is
wonderful,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to take care of people. We want to make their life better. We want to be, you know. I don't know what you call it. We were just very caring kind of people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
and I really admire everybody who uses less
packaging products and stuff. Yeah.
The less we make a mess out of it, the better.
Yeah.
And the less we use, the better.
And I think having like the reminder that there are other options makes a definite impact, because sometimes we think there isn't an option. Like life today is all about packaging, and life is all about wrapping it in saran wrap 5 times over, and the flashy packaging on something so that it catches your eye, but it all goes into the trash. It has no use. So knowing that there's an option, I think, makes a big difference.
Yeah. Refill, reuse, rethink. Yes. Oh my. Karrie. Oh, okay. Karrie Rutherford is at Rutherford Reserve, 853 Lincoln Way, Suite 110. What's the name of the building?
It's the Auburn Promenade.
At the Auburn Promenade in Auburn. RutherfordReserve.com. This is a wonderful place, and I recommend you're going.
Right, I hope so.
Yeah,
Come and check us out, see it. Yeah.
And this isn't meant to be. This is television, and I'm talking about this organization, this company, but it's vital, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that if our small businesses don't get out there and offer these options, that they won't exist. And so I think it is vital that we have to get it out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Karrie.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate getting the word out, you know?
Good. Good. Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you sometime at Rutherford Reserve. Okay. Bye-bye.